Hi and welcome to Intuitive Insights. As you can see, Kayla is not with me today. Unfortunately, due to, circumstances and logistics surrounding the quarantine and all of these types of things, we have been forced to retire to separate living quarters. We're still going to do everything we can to get videos out to you guys. We're going to find some creative ways to do that, both together and apart. And so today I am going to be doing kind of a different kind of video with you guys. We're going to be talking a lot about Pluto and Saturn and sort of the role that they're playing in everything that we see going on right now in the world. I am very, very much a fan of Pluto. I love talking about anything to do with Pluto, thinking about Pluto, meditating on Pluto, you name it. Pluto, Pluto, Pluto. I am all about it. And so, needless to say, I've been doing a lot of those things with some of my free time, and I've had some really interesting insights and messages that have come through around that. And, when we're talking about Pluto and Saturn, first we want to really understand, in order to understand what's happening right now, we want to really understand their energy and their essence. And so we have, first off, we'll start with Saturn. So we have Saturn, and Saturn is the energy that governs space and time. Saturn governs boundaries, restrictions, in the sense that Saturn is sort of like that paternal type figure who presents us with challenges in order to help us to grow. What Saturn's concerned about is our existence in this three-dimensional reality and our ability to grow and mature into the type of people who can handle the circumstances that life throws on us. It gives us restrictions and challenges so that we can grow beyond those challenges and restrictions. And this is obviously extremely necessary. People really look down on Saturn. It was, considered like pretty much an evil, malefic planet for a long time, just because it was associated with all the things that we don't like. And why don't we like those things? Because those are the things that we incarnated into. It's sort of like the agreement that we incarnated into. It's this life experience that we have that is limiting to us because we are at our core limitless beings. And so that is what Pluto is all about. Pluto is the planet of power. Pluto is the keeper of the secrets. Pluto is the shadow. It's the key to unlocking our full esoteric power and energy, because that's what Pluto is at its core. It just radiates that energy, that power. And Pluto wants us to learn how to step into our power. So Saturn wants us to learn how to step into our power in this three-dimensional existence, how to master time and space and live successfully within that structure. Pluto, on the other hand, is about what's beyond that structure. And so Pluto is going to do whatever it takes in order to transform us and to remind us of our eternal power. And it will use any means necessary to get us there. Plutonian energy is I want to choose the word indifferent. It's detached. One of the things that Pluto taught me in a meditation that I did, where I was very fortunate and honored to be able to channel some of Pluto's energy and, sort of converse with Pluto in a way, was this energy of detachment. The way it looks upon everything from that place of, I guess another word for it would be neutrality. And in that neutrality is where our true power lies. And so Pluto's here to teach us everything we need to know about our power. And Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn. Pluto is a slow-moving planet. Pluto is very patient. Pluto is, just taking its time, and really, it's just, and you imagine it just sitting there, just radiating this really slow, powerful energy that just ever so slightly affects the reality around it and just kind of expands more and more. And so Pluto, I have some notes here just because I'm really not good with dates. But Pluto actually entered the sign of Capricorn in January 2008. And as you can see, we're now in the year 2020. And Pluto will remain in Capricorn until March 23rd, 2023. So 3/23/2023, which I think is an interesting number to note. And so that's a really long time. And what Pluto does when it's in any sign is it transforms the energy and everything associated with the sign that it's in. And so in Capricorn, what is Capricorn? Well, Capricorn is the sign of status. It's the sign of authority. It's a sign of power. It is ruled by Saturn. And so since 2008, Pluto has been sitting in this Capricorn energy, just slowly beginning this process of transformation around authority and structure and the establishment and status, ambition, power, all of these things. The planet of power in the sign of authority and power, which is some pretty heavy energy. And Pluto is here to show us, it's here to allow us, it's the planet of death and rebirth, right? It's that scorpionic energy. Pluto rules Scorpio. And so Pluto is always going to get to the very heart and the depth of everything. That's why we look at it sort of as the planet of the shadow, because it reveals everything that's hidden so that it can be shown the light and then be integrated and transmuted. And we can then move beyond it and burst forth like the phoenix into this next stage of our evolution. And Pluto's been doing this in this area. And it's, like I said, imagining it just that power and that energy just slowly radiating. It's been doing this for a very long time, and we're coming to the culmination of the end of this cycle right now. So back in January, we had the Saturn-Pluto conjunction of 2020. This was a huge, huge energy. You heard everybody talking about it if you follow astrology. And if you were like me, after it was over, you probably sat back and wondered, everyone was predicting, sort of an end of, some people were going really extreme with it, predicting like this end of days type scenario, that everything was going to crumble around us, and nothing really dramatic like that seemed to have happened. And so, I can say for myself, I was actually slightly disappointed, and I feel bad saying that now in light of, the craziness we have going on right now, because this is certainly not exactly the way I had hoped it was going to go down. But Pluto Pluto has its own means, and it's going to do whatever is absolutely necessary to get us to the heart of the matter. And we don't really get to choose what that is. That's why if you are interested in working with the planets, Pluto's a planet, probably the planet above all Pluto and Uranus. I would say that you want to be careful what you wish for, and you want to be careful what you ask for, because you will get it, but it may not be necessarily in a way. I mean, think about our deepest transformations. A lot of times those happen in really scary ways, or ways that are not, they make us as uncomfortable as they have to make us in order for us to change. And that's what's happening in the world right now, is everywhere that the structures that we have built, and I say we because we as a collective, whether we agree with them or not, on some level have built them. All of these structures, all of these ways of life, these rules, all of this outward stuff that we have built in order to provide ourselves with a sense of stability and security is being challenged, and everything that's really not truly stable and viable and secure is being exposed now. And some of the ways that this is happening is, through the coronavirus. All of a sudden, the world is being extremely strained. It's being challenged. It's being forced to come together. It's being, our systems and our government and everything that we've set up for these times of crisis is being tested, and we're being shown where are the weak links in this chain. And so that's part of what Pluto is doing right now. And so it was interesting, as I said, on the date of their exact conjunction back in January, I think some people were expecting that there was going to be this like astronomical event that happened on that day. And I was one of those people to a certain extent. I figured it would come somewhere around, but I was expecting something within that area. And I definitely saw a lot going on in my personal life, in my personal chart, because Pluto is also transforming us, Pluto and Saturn, on a personal level. But on the collective level, I didn't really see it as much. And I was just like, okay. But what I'm realizing and coming to understand the more that I study astrology and get familiar with it is the fact that, we talk about time all the time and how it's an illusion. These planetary energies may not conform to very specific dates, and there were probably things going on behind the scenes that we didn't realize were happening right around that time, and now they're coming to more of that full culmination. Especially now, as I'm recording this video, Pluto and Saturn are still within a few degrees of each other. Pluto's at 24 degrees, and I believe Saturn's probably right on the cusp of going from that 29 degrees to that 0 degree mark of Aquarius, because in 2 days it will be moving into Aquarius. But they've been, throughout the past few weeks, they've still been in quite close contact with each other, and they're going to continue to be in contact with each other as Saturn moves into Aquarius. Now, this statement is one that's completely intuitive. If you go by traditional astrology and the way that they qualify and quantify things, they're not going to be in conversation anymore. However, the impression that I was given of the scenario is that Saturn and Pluto are going to be working in concert with each other over the next 3 years. It's no coincidence that Saturn will be moving into Aquarius and will remain in Aquarius until 2023, when it will then move into Pisces. And so Pluto is moving into Aquarius just as Saturn moves out of Aquarius. And over the next 3 years, Saturn is going to be in there. And the way that I see this is sort of like Saturn and Pluto got together. They had a conversation, sort of a meeting of the minds. They exchanged some information. And then Saturn is now moving forward with that information into the sign of Aquarius. And so this is a very interesting energy. Now, Saturn was the ruler of Aquarius before Uranus was discovered. In my mind, Uranus was always there, so Uranus was always the ruler of Aquarius. If you're familiar with Uranian energy and Aquarian energy, you see that connection very, very deeply. But Saturn is associated with Aquarius still, so it's still in the realm of its own energies. Capricorn is, if you want to look at sort of the duality of Saturn, you can look at Capricorn as the more three-dimensional aspect of Saturn's energy, and Aquarius is more of the five-dimensional aspect of Saturn's energy. And so this is a really, really interesting transit that we have going on, especially at the time that we're having it now, because it's sort of as though Saturn is that as we talked about, that anchoring of that three-dimensional energy, the structure, the form, the physical incarnation, and all the karma that's I want to say accumulated with that. What's the word I'm looking for? All the karma that's attached to that. All of those different things. And then Aquarius is sort of, some people call them like the aliens of the zodiac, right? It's that energy that's very up here. And it's interconnected, but it's also individualistic at the same time. It's forward thinking, forward moving, very cosmic kind of energy. And so the planet that governs our physical reality is being infused with this otherworldly cosmic type of energy. And there's going to be a lot of really interesting things happening with that on an energetic level. I think it's so many things. I'm struggling with whether to look at the notes that I channeled in regards to this. I think I'm going to, because it's some really good stuff that I think deserves to be given a read here. And so what I was channeled regarding Saturn moving into Aquarius are the following things. With Saturn in Aquarius, the rules around time, space, and structure are changing. With the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, we saw what needed to change. Now we are beginning the process of putting this change into action. We are merging the 3D with the 5D. We will experience acceleration in moving through timelines, integration of new light codes fully into the physical body, the melding of higher consciousness with our physical bodies. And so DNA upgrades are going to intensify. We may begin to start seeing changes in our physical bodies, our physicality as a result. Activations of the third eye, crown, and other upper chakras. And now, right now, as I'm reading this, I'm seeing it as sort of those activations, and then the grounding and of the lower energies as well. So sort of the streamlining of all of those energies. Transmutation and dissolution of karma or karmic laws as we understand them currently. I do want to throw that in there because I'm feeling that there's some other stuff around that as far as personal karma, perhaps our karma almost being taken from a place where we're making up for all these other lifetimes and evening and balancing that out, to a place where it's the karma of how we're acting now, how we're living in the now. That karma is going to be returned to us. It's that rapid manifestation process. So when we do things, we're going to be instantly receiving the reaction from the universe for that. And some of these older karmic timelines and patterns are being dissolved. Okay, let's see. Lessons regarding universal consciousness, collective versus individual. And so this is sort of, and sorry, my nose, sometimes when I channel, my nose gets super itchy. This is apparently a common thing. So, yeah, and this is, when we look at Aquarian energy, that makes a whole lot of sense that came through, because Aquarian energy is that universal and collective consciousness energy, but it's also that, like, as I was saying earlier, that sense of individuality. So it's like the melding, the lessons around how do we balance out those two. And that sort of goes, along with the rest of this, which is we are creating structure based on our need to be free and autonomous, as well as supportive of each other and the whole. We're finding ways to be both in harmony with each other and nature, as well as to be free to aspire and achieve on a personal level. Individual purpose and pursuit of happiness mixed with collective advancement. So that was a bunch of different ways of basically saying the same thing, but there you have it. The continuation of paradigm shifts in authority, shifts in the structures and how we structure the world, moving past perceived limitations. And so this is huge because Saturn is the planet that does represent limitations, and the limitations of this physical incarnation, the limitations of living in this reality that we've all created and agreed to take part in. However, we didn't come here just to submit to the current reality. We came here to co-create. We came here to change reality. And so that's what this energy is allowing us to do, because we're seeing that path forward. We're seeing how we're able to make these changes. And as Saturn in Aquarius is showing us this and bringing us these downloads and these informations, Pluto is remaining behind in Capricorn, continuing to expose everything that needs to be exposed, continuing to show us the places where we need to change. Where is change necessary? Anything that's been hidden is not going to be hidden for long. Let's put it that way. Pluto is in the final degrees of Capricorn right now. So it's sort of like, it's been a game of chess that's been going on since 2008. And now, Pluto has been biding its time, sort of watching the game, figuring out where to make its moves and its checkmate, basically. And so we're going to see anywhere where there have been truths hidden, anywhere where abuse of power, any of these things have been going on, Pluto is going to be continuing to reveal, and it's going to reveal these things through any means necessary. And as Pluto reveals these things, the energy of Saturn and Aquarius is allowing us to have that higher perspective to look around and say, okay, so that's not working. We don't want that anymore. What can we build instead? And that's pretty amazing. And which actually leads perfectly into the next thing that I wrote, which is calling out truth and standing in our power, having the courage to expose injustice and push for a better way. New ideas abound. I also had merging and revolutionizing society through technologies. And so this definitely makes sense as well, because we have Aquarius, which is that Uranian energy, which rules technology and things like that, especially, higher, more cutting edge technology. So we're looking at a lot of that stuff as well. And I wanted to also bring up right now that we're on the topic of Uranus, that another factor that I see as sort of playing in and supporting these energies of Saturn and Pluto is Uranus and Taurus. And so Uranus is going to be in Taurus all throughout this time. Uranus is going to be in Taurus. I actually didn't look it up and get dates on that, but Uranus is not, it's an erratically moving planet, but it stays in a sign for a long time. I believe it's something like 10 years. So this is another energy that's going to be supporting everything that's going on. We predicted when Uranus first entered Taurus that there were going to be major changes in the way we view money, the way we view wealth, all the things that we value, the way that we view our connection with this planet, because Taurus is, that Earth Mother energy, that Gaia energy. And so changes in all of those stuff, and Uranian energy is very unpredictable. So crazy weather, which we've definitely been seeing, just crazy changes in finances, crazy changes in all of these different sectors, because, Taurus ruled by Venus also rules, wealth and things of this nature. So a lot of these unpredictable things. And so Uranus in Taurus is helping to revolutionize the way that we see the world, the way we see our role in the world, the way that we acquire and the things that we value, the way that we just what we want, why we want it, and what reorganizing and reprioritizing what's important. And so this energy is sort of fueling everything that's going on. So it's like we have Pluto revealing and transforming and bringing everything into the light. We have Saturn carrying forth this energy into the physicality of, moving forward and creating a new paradigm and a new reality. And we have Uranus and Taurus over there lending that same kind of energy in its own way. So it's pretty cool how all of these planets are working synergistically. And this is like the long game right now. When we talk about, where Venus is and Mars and Mercury and the full moons and the new moons and all of that stuff, that's always changing. The sun, the moon, all these planets and celestial bodies are always moving, and they move relatively quickly. So there's always new dynamics being set up between them, new conversations happening. Whereas some of these other planets move much more slowly, and their impact, therefore, is felt much more deeply. And Pluto is the slowest moving of all the planets. It's also, as I said earlier, the planet that represents power. And so any planet that's in conversation with Pluto's energy is going to override the energy and be the influencer. And that's what we're seeing right now. We've seen so many planets passing through and passing into that vibration of Pluto, and the upgrades that they're receiving, the transformations that we're receiving in these areas. It's really interesting, and I'll talk about this more in the new moon video, but we also recently, and still currently, it's not quite as exact anymore, but at the new moon, these planets will still be in a few degrees of each other. So we have Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto all in conjunction. And that's a really interesting energy too, because that's, on a personal level, as the world collectively is sort of being forced to look at its own shadow right now, in a manner of speaking, we're also being forced to do this. And we have stuff like this happen, like the, Pluto, Jupiter, and Mars all getting together. And so we think about Pluto as being the baseline. Pluto, that is, it's the overriding energy. So it's going to be reflecting its energy to these other planets. And so we see Jupiter being affected by this. And so Jupiter is our sense of, it's that expansive energy. So it's just really expanding all of the energies. It's expansive, it's, philosophical, it's our sense of faith. It's all of these things. And then we have Mars, which is our drive, it's our ambition. It's, in a lot of ways, really, I look at Mars almost as a lower octave of Pluto in some ways. It's all of our base instinctual nature. And so we're getting an upgrade and a transformation of that. So we're looking at, taking that Jupiterian energy, that benevolent, very, spiritual, faith-based energy, and we're applying that, and we're looking at what is it that stands in our way of achieving our goals and our desires, and do our goals and our desires need to be viewed through a different lens? Do they need to be adjusted to reflect a higher ideal and a higher vibration or expression of ourselves? What is ourself that we're looking to express into the world, and what is it that we're trying to accomplish? What is it that we desire, and are those desires coming from a place of ego, a place of pride, or are they coming from a higher, more divine consciousness? And how can we merge that, and how can we transform anything that's not of the vibration that we would like to be? How can we become better? How can we revolutionize our faith in ourselves and, carry that out actively in the world? And so we're looking at that right now as well. We're looking at so many things. We're looking at, seeing the kind of person that we want to be, and the goals that we have for ourselves, and what is standing in the way of that. Do we need to expand our sense of self? Do we need to expand our desires and our minds, our physicality? What do we need to make more room for? What can we release? What old ideas and conditioning and outdated belief systems do we need to release to make room for all of the new understandings and the new desires and the new passions that are coming in? And so that's definitely also a very interesting energy. It's just so much going on right now, and just Pluto just sending those rays out to everything. And it's definitely interesting. It's definitely can be scary. I mean, Pluto packs quite a punch. And as I said, the next 3 years are going to be just a consistent revealing of everything that needs to change. The good thing is we do have Saturn in Aquarius now, allowing for those changes to happen. And so there will be a way forward that is shown, as long as we're willing to get honest. The more honest we're willing to get in our personal lives and as a collective is going to determine how painful the next few years are going to be. It can be a beautiful process, or it can be a really tumultuous process. It just depends on how honest we're able to get with ourselves as a society, as a global society, and as individuals in our own individual lives. And change is in the air. There's absolutely nothing. We cannot avoid it. We cannot stop it. It is happening. It may very well not look the way that we expect it to look or thought we wanted it to look. But we're being given a really great opportunity to, as I said, sort of revise our wants and our needs, and, see if, just be open to possibility. That's the only thing that I can really say, is just allowing ourselves to be open to possibility, and just going with the flow of what's happening. As much as we resist, that determines our level of pain and suffering. When we can let go of that resistance, we're able to flow with the changes that are happening. Looking at what is it that I can control and what is it that I can't control. And just letting go of the things that we can't control, and just taking care of the things that we can. And, it's the things we can control right now are not really that many at times. I can control what time I eat. I can control how much rest I'm getting right now. I can control, what am I doing with this downtime that I've been given by Spirit? Am I enriching myself and growing spiritually? Am I taking the opportunity to really get in touch with myself and my divine nature? Am I being crippled by fear, or am I examining my fears and taking inventory of them and wanting to understand where they're coming from so that I can release them and move beyond them? There's a gift and an opportunity in everything, and it's just being willing and able to see those gifts and opportunities. And so I think I am right now. I got this deck out earlier just in case, and I think I am going to pull a card from this. And so this is the Mystical Shaman Oracle, if you can see that. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous cards. And so, please, roll up the sleeves here. Please give us a little bit of guidance for the collective as we navigate these energies being brought forth by Pluto and Capricorn. What are the lessons that we are learning? And we got the hummingbird. Number 26. Despite being so little, hummingbirds are great journeyers, migrating between North and Central or South America to feed the summer nectar. This gentle creature can be fiercely territorial to protect its home. Hummingbird teaches us to be gentle to ourselves and protect our personal space. Hummingbird invites you to embark on your epic quest, bypass the dung pile of old pain and hurts, head for the flowers, and learn to trust the calling you hear ever so softly. The buzzing you feel is the sound of your hummingbird wings preparing you to say yes to a new adventure. This is not the time to linger on what has gone wrong, but to trust in the rightness of the moment and take bold action. Trust that success is assured, even if you must face tests and challenges to reach your destination. Know that all will be well, because the all is in the small. And then I'm going to read the medicine for this as well, for those who are struggling. This mighty being comes to teach you stillness and motion, and to trust your inner knowing that the sweetest nectar is assured. Failing to act when the moment is right can spoil your journey. If you feel your safety, comfort, or day-to-day survival are more important than saying yes to the invitation to explore the unknown, you will have to work much harder to achieve what is being offered to you freely now. Still your mind, even in the midst of your very hectic schedule, and heed the gentle voice that calls you to test new wings. Yeah. So the invitation to trust and explore the unknown. And so what I'm getting from this is just that, as we were talking about, we can definitely sink into that space of worrying and not trusting and not allowing and getting caught up in, I'm so afraid of everything that's happening in the world around me. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be safe, that I'm not being cared for. And we can actually miss the adventure that's right in front of us. And so for a lot of people, this doesn't feel like an adventure. This feels like the end of the world, right? But it's absolutely not. This is a very positive card. The hummingbird is a beautiful, beautiful animal totem. If the hummingbird is coming to us, it's assuring us that there is hope. There is a future waiting for us. When I see the hummingbird, I think about, flowers, and I think about springtime and summertime and warmth and like that next season. And so this is really calling me right now to think about the upcoming seasons. Like we just had the equinox yesterday. And so we're shifting into that place of more light. We're in that place of balance right now, and we're moving. The darkness is sort of receding and the light is moving forward. So it's knowing that like we have so many adventures yet to come. There is so much more to experience. And when those adventures come, we have to be willing to say yes to them. And that doesn't mean like, let's go out and run around and, rub elbows with, all kinds of people right now instead of, taking the more responsible tactic and staying at home. It definitely doesn't mean that in this exact circumstance, but it does mean that we can't allow fear to get the best of us. And we have to say, like, we're going to know what the right path is, and we know what we're being drawn to. And it's just to pay attention to the things that we're being drawn to, and just to know that what's happening right now is not going to last forever, and we are going to have that opportunity to spread our wings again and to move forward and to move in the manner that we're being called to move. So that's what I'm getting from that. Any other messages from this deck? we have the Time Master. I apologize for the lighting here. It's a little difficult to see the cards. There we go. I think that. Time is a construct of the human mind through which life events are seen to flow in a straight line from past to future. This, however, is an illusion. Time moves in patterns, fractals, sometimes turning like a wheel and others moving straight as an arrow. Humans see time like a ticking clock, and this image reminds us that there is only so much of it to spend in a life, kind of like a currency. At any given moment, you can see time in all its infinite potential, at once vast and all-encompassing, then shrunken and finite. It all depends on perspective. When the Time Master visits you, he asks the most important question. Will you break free from limited cause and effect thinking by moving beyond the linear illusion and welcoming the cyclic quality of time? You find yourself in a moment when the wheel of time turns and you're able to influence the past, thus changing the present and future simultaneously. This is the true test of the Time Master. You're being invited to take back your power, so let go of the past and choose to step into your life. In this moment, you are all powerful. You are the Time Master. Anything is possible now. And then it also says, sometimes it appears that you are running out of time. You worry you won't get what you need or want. Everything gets stuck like a log jam. This is only in your mind. Time expands and contracts according to your ability to be mindful and observant. Fully engage in your now. It's time to release the story of your past. Equally, it's time to release your need to know the details of the future. All the treasure magically reveals itself when you remain relaxed and present to what is directly in front of you and nothing else. Then you realize you have all the time in the world. You will never run out of it. So this is really interesting given everything that we were talking about, considering the collapsing of timelines and Saturn being the planet of time and sort of the rules of time and space and structure changing. And it's just sort of an understanding of that as we move out of this system of linear time and into a more expansive reality. And one of the coolest ways to experience this is to really be centered just in the now moment. And through meditation and sort of like when we look around us, it's physical reality seems very, very real because it's everything we're touching it. Depending on where you are in the ascension process. Right now, sometimes I look at stuff and I can see it moving and sort of flowing and changing. But generally speaking, stuff looks pretty solid. But when we go into meditation and we go into that still place, and we allow ourselves to move beyond these confines of what we see and experience as our reality, we can go to all different types of places. We can see everything expanding, and it's a pretty cool experience. So it's just a reminder that honestly, time is an illusion, and we look at. I think that this is a really important thing to discuss. So we look at this physical reality and this physical life, and we think that this is all that we have. We're waking up to the fact that we are eternal cosmic beings, which means that this lifetime is just a little blip on the radar of our eternal selves. And so we get really afraid because, we still have this old paradigm that we're moving out of that tells us that this is our one life. YOLO, you only live once. We have even all these little catchphrases about it, and people, which is a fun little flippant phrase to say, but if we break it down and we really look at it and what it's suggesting, that's just absolutely not true. We live infinitely. And so we can be a lot less afraid of what's happening right now if we look at it from more of that cosmic viewpoint and we realize that we have so much more. This incarnation is just one of many. It's a very important and a very profound one because of the shifts that are happening right now on this planet, but it's just one, and our soul, our being is eternal. And so we don't have anything to fear. I'll say that again. We do not have anything to fear. The moment we leave these physical bodies, these illusions of time fade away, and we're once again beyond time. So that, I think, is really important to remember. Anything else? Any final lessons that we're learning right now? We got 3. I'm not going to read the full thing, but I'll take a little look here. These are gorgeous cards. Absolutely gorgeous cards. So we'll do them one at a time because of the lighting. Once again, I apologize. We have the rainbow, the lower world, and the mystical shaman. A sip of water here. And when I look at the rainbow, I immediately think of the rainbow light body, which we are ascending into. Oh, and that is just a beautiful, beautiful card. And it's interesting because it's almost like the bird on this is like a combination of a phoenix and a hawk and a hummingbird all in one. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. Yep. So the rainbow symbolizes the 7 steps of the true spiritual path, which manifests as the colors of the 7 chakras. In the Himalayas, the rainbow body is seen as the full realization of our essence. The rainbow also represents the bridge between the physical and the spiritual worlds. At the end of our lives, we can journey across the rainbow bridge to the highest heavenly realms. When the rainbow appears, it is an affirmation that all is well and that you are in right relationship with spirit. The rainbow tells you that the end of the storm is near. Persevere and remember that it is darkest just before the dawn. Do not give up hope. Things are about to take a positive turn. Listen for the morning rooster that announces the coming of the dawn even when the night is still darkest. But do not claim victory yet or let your guard down fully. Yeah, so that's kind of perfect, right? It's like all is going to be well. You know, be safe, be smart, but don't descend into fear. Don't descend into fear consciousness. You know, remain in your power. And yeah, this whole cycle that we have going up between Saturn moving into Aquarius and, you know, the dismantling of the system and of life and the way the world functions as we know it is a terrifying time. But like during all of this, we're getting just these serious upgrades in energy. You know, we are building that bridge between the realms, between the worlds. And, you know, that we're anchoring that in with our hearts. So really allowing that heart energy to be open and just sinking into that, having that joy like the hummingbird. The hummingbird is very joyful. The hummingbird works hard. I can't even remember how many times a second its wings flutter. But I mean, it's one of the hardest working and fastest moving animals. And it travels long distances. But it does so with this sense of joy. Everything that it does, all these steps that it goes through, it understands the meaning of hard work and dedication. It understands, you know, I mean, what it takes to live and exist in this physical reality, and yet it does all of this with this beautiful sense of joy, this gratitude for every moment, for appreciating time and all of its ebbs and flows and all of its structures and making the most out of all the time that it has. And, you know, I'm just seeing this, the energy of the speed of the wings beating and how that's just kind of rippling and moving through these illusions of time. Yeah, that's a really interesting visual that I'm getting right now, is using the hummingbird energy to travel through time. I don't really know exactly what that means, but it's sounding like I'm onto something with that. So there's something with that energy of being able to transcend these illusions of time through calling on that energy. and the development of the rainbow light body. That's all I see with this card. Honestly, there are great messages as far as, that the storm is going to pass and all of that, but I'm really just feeling the rainbow light body. Like, we are developing that. We are developing that rainbow light body, and we are, through that process, transcending time. Then we have, let's see here. The lower world. And so this is the place of our ancestors, the place of our hidden treasures, the journey into the shadow realms, the lower realms, where we can bring with us the wisdom, transcending our demons into pure energy. And so this is Plutonian energy right here. This is what Pluto does. We dig deep into the depths of our soul, and we pull up everything. We pull out everything that's in there, and we look at it, and we love it, and we honor it, and we transmute it. And so this actually brings up, another thing too about this whole process that we're going through right now, is the fact that what Pluto is also doing is Pluto is teaching us the importance of power and the importance of wielding our power with integrity. And so Pluto wants us to embrace our full power. It wants us to stand fully in our power as cosmic beings of light. But in order for us to master and manifest that power appropriately, we need to earn that. And part of how we earn that is through the recognition and the understanding of the responsibility that comes with that. And so right now what we're seeing in the world is all the ways that people in authority have abused their power, and sort of what that looks like and the results that causes. And so everybody is sort of suffering in one way or another as a result of that. And we're seeing how that's playing out in the world. And so this is showing us and really helping us to understand, like, the responsibility that comes with power. And that's one of the lessons that we're here to learn. And so once we understand how to wield our power with integrity and with intent, and with the intent of the upliftment of ourselves and the world, with the intent of the evolution of our souls and the souls of all of humanity, that is when we will be gifted with our true power. And we're all coming into this understanding within ourselves and within the scope of our own lives as well. And the mystical shaman. The mystical shaman represents the ability to dream a new story, a new myth into being. He dances between worlds, wearing the cloak of the world loosely around his shoulders, and sings the world into being. He reminds us to be in the world and travel through it, but not to be defined by it or become too attached to the experience. This is the symbol of true alchemy, for all elements of life have a spiritual aspect and a material one. When we remember this, all manner of miracles and manifestations are possible. When the mystical shaman appears, you're invited to consider the ability to live without attachment. You are called to create and dream your life, to act on inspiration and divine impulse without fixating on a known story of success or achievement. Can you impartially observe the stories you tell yourself and others? What if you could become a mystery to yourself? Ooh. Who would you become if you stopped telling the tales that have defined you up until now? You do not have to live in a story that has roots in the past. A lot of cards about not being defined by the past, which also could have something to do with the dissolution of karma, the rules of karma as we know them as well, and also just, the shedding of all that no longer serves us. What if there was no need to explain you to anyone, not even to yourself? The way to your most extraordinary life is to become a blank slate and allow the form of your dreams and desires to show up as it will. This is a sign of manifesting a life beyond your wildest dreams. Yeah. So this is, we are the dream weavers. We have the ability to create worlds. We hold this ability within ourselves. We're getting back in touch with that aspect of who we are. And so we can create any reality that we so choose. Right now, we're being shown the reality that we created. Sorry. And after we see and we understand that reality, and perhaps understand some of the ways that that was created, which is also very Pluto and Capricorn, because how was a lot of the reality that we exist in right now created? It was created through fear, through the vibration of fear, through these survival instincts, through everybody's need to control. And so we're if we can understand why this came about, then we can build something different. If we rebuild and we recreate this new world, this new earth, from a vision of unity, of respect, of, understanding the balance of personal autonomy mixed with an understanding and a respect for the fact that we all share this earth together and we are all connected, we can create something beautiful. And this card is, this whole reading is telling us that we are in the process of creating that. We have that power. And so we just have to hang in through that process. We don't have to, but it would behoove us to find a way to drop into that joy consciousness, drop into that joyful, creative, playful energy. Say yes to life, say yes to the new experiences that are being offered. Maybe say no to a handshake with a stranger right now, but, say yes to all these little hidden opportunities that are going to present themselves, and just know that, we're going to come out of this so much stronger. And there's so many beautiful, beautiful upgrades going on right now. We are receiving so much, and that's going to continue to happen, and we're going to continue to integrate. And it's beautiful in a way that so many of us get this downtime to just allow these energies to integrate and to just focus on that, and to focus on this inner journey and, the world that we're trying to create together. Yeah. So just releasing our attachment to what was, so that we're able to usher in what is to be. And that's that, I think. So thank you all for joining me. Hope that I did an all right job without Kayla. I miss her very much. I just saw her earlier today. We didn't have time to do a video. It was very brief, but, I still miss her. I love you, Kayla, so much. I love all of our subscribers. If you like this pretty video, please like it. Please share it. Please comment. Please, we're all in this together, and we're all just ebbing and flowing with life in the way that we can, and adapting to circumstances as they happen. And we're going to continue to bring you content and to bring you guidance and information, and, just a reminder that we are all connected, and we are all, even if we're all segregated physically into our little houses or what have you, we're all connected right here and right here. And we can tap into that, and we can feel that at any time, because we are one. So I am with you. I love you. Until we speak again, be well.